Nice.
Good.
Let me just use all 4 feats on him real quick. I used all 4 of my feats on him.
Welcome back, everyone. Today's video is going to be a little bit different. Today I'm trying something new and hope the backlash doesn't hit like winter depression. I'll be making a how-to series based off the Ubisoft title For Honor, where we look at the basics of how to play various heroes. These videos won't be going super in-depth with all sorts of mathematical calculations for you to inflict maximum salt on your opponents, but we'll be looking at the unique aspects that set heroes apart and give you an idea if you want to pick them up. And yes, I am well aware the game has been out for nearly 6 years, but statistics still show For Honor is attracting new players, especially with their recent update bringing cross-platform play to the game. While this video is geared towards these newer players, every hero has undergone changes, reworks, and tweaks since the game's birth, so even veteran players, or those of you who haven't played the game in a while, might learn a thing or two. But with all that out of the way, we can finally get started, and boy, do I have a hero for you today. This is Pirate. While you might be tempted to think of the swashbucklers terrorizing the Caribbean islands, For Honor's version of Pirate is a little different. According to the game's lore, she comes off the coast of China, and her in-game cosmetics certainly show that. She even insults you in Cantonese. Although your mind might not go to Chinese as the first thing when you hear the term pirate, her ethnicity is the least surprising thing about her character. Pirate is the first and only character in For Honor with a gun. Yeah, you heard me right. A classic flintlock to be exact. When Ubisoft announced Pirate's release, many of us, including myself, were skeptical. In a game about the art of combat and glorifying various medieval weaponry, adding a character with just a straight-up gun was something we only joked about. Alas, For Honor took these jokes as a challenge, and Pirate was born. Pirate comes equipped with a swashbuckling swisher, a pocket cheese dispenser, and enough salt to supply Guatemala. If you're still stuck on the fact that Ubi added a character with a gun to a close-quarters fighter, taking a look at her moveset feels even wilder. The name of the game is Relentless Offense. If you find yourself playing defensively with Pirate, take a moment to ask yourself, what am I doing? Why am I here? Do my parents even love me? Pirate shows a similar pattern to Xanu, where every move seems to chain to something else, and the attacks never stop. All of her heavy attacks chain into her pistol by pressing the guard break button. Let me repeat that because I don't think you understood me. All of her heavies chain into her meme blaster. Hitting a successful heavy on your opponent gives you a guaranteed pistol shot for 5 damage, but blocked or even whiffed heavies still chain into an alternate version of the pistol shot. She also has a version of Gladiator's skewer move, except with her cutlass, and although the game calls it walk the plank, I'm just calling it her skewer. This skewer is your bread and butter for your mix-ups. It can be thrown as any chain heavy and deals great damage. Like I said before, this is in fact a heavy, so you can press the guard break button after a successful skewer for a guaranteed gunshot. Additionally, shooting the gun has this sort of odd effect of semi-resetting her chains, so you can just throw a skewer right after shooting someone's ribs out. What makes the skewer even more powerful is the ability to soft feint it into a guard break. This means you can catch players with certain dodge attacks and dodge bashes that would otherwise bounce a hard feinted guard break, trapping them in your chain that much easier. If all this wasn't enough, Pirate shares a rare ability that only Orochi and Xanu have: dodge out of recovery. The ability to dodge out of recovery frames, whether it's just a simple dodge or a full dodge attack, is the best simultaneous offensive and defensive maneuver in the game. You can dodge out of the recovery of any attack, whether it be lights, heavies, the gunshot, skewer, or even other dodge attacks. Even if you miss your grab shot because your opponent is dodge attacking you, you can dodge attack out of your recovery and break your opponent's ankles worse than Michael Jordan breaking Mitch Richmond. All of this makes her one of the strongest dueling heroes in the game. She certainly has her utility in teamfights, being slippery with her dodge out of recovery, and her gun grab can lock an enemy and allow your teammate to get a free heavy, but other than that, she's built for 1v1s. So much so, I even brought her into ranked duels and was slaughtering with her, well, at least until Corrupt Knight distracted me with cursed memes.
Y'all ever just take a cold shower in the dark on all fours and groan pleasurably, pretending you're a wet rhino on the African savannah during the first rain in years?
Moving on from that horrible imagery, let's look at her unique feats. Pirate has 4 unique feats. Her tier 1 is called Armor Piercing Slug, which does minimal damage but applies the damage resistance debuff to her enemy. Her tier 2, called Pocket Bomb, is alright and deals a bar of damage, which is solid for a tier 2, but the problem is the AoE has a radius even smaller than my bank account and completely misses my target 90% of the time.
Oh, it's like you. Wait, time out. Like freaking. I could have killed him.
Her tier 3, called Trick Shot, is pretty solid as it ricochets to all enemies nearby the first target when hit and applies heavy bleed damage.
Many times.
Fuck that dude. Oh my god, that hurt.
Her tier 4 is called Gunpowder Surprise and is nothing short of a meme cannon. It deals 40 damage and sends your enemies flying onto their asses. A great tool for breaking up teamfights or asserting your dominance over the other factions who haven't invented gunpowder yet. With her added feats, you are the physical embodiment of bringing a gun to a knife fight, and provides you with some of the most memeable abilities, especially if you spam all 4 feats at the same target. Personally though, I like to run Indomitable as her tier 4, just because I like to be that guy who just never dies and can continue to spam dodge for longer. While all of this is pretty insane, Pirate does have one downside. Because of her offensive dominance, her regular heavies are rather weak, coming in at only 20 damage. This means you'll almost always be pressing your guard break button after your heavies for the extra damage with a gunshot. This can lead to certain scenarios where you are unsure if your neutral heavy will do enough damage to kill your opponent, so you instinctively press the shoot button. A problem arises if your heavy attack actually did enough damage to finish off your opponent without the use of your pistol. If this happens, Pirate will be launched into an execution, and unfortunately for Pirate, all of her default executions are fairly lengthy. This is a problem when you become stuck in an execution animation right in the middle of a team fight and essentially seal your own doom. To combat this, I recommend picking up a quick execution, specifically one from the Concision batch of executions, since they are some of the fastest in the game. This way, if you killed your opponent with less damage than anticipated, you can still execute your opponent without being vulnerable for too long. And just to recap, Relentless Offense, everything chains into Skewer, and you can delete your opponent's health bar so fast no one will question why you are wielding a bottomless flintlock that never requires a reload. Well, that's all the time for we have today. Thanks so much for watching, and hope to see you next time.